Hi, this is Jim,
And Ralph.
and we welcome you to Psychology Takeaway, the podcast where we look at new things in psychology or old things that might be relevant today and try to make them relevant to you.
And to us.
Well, hi, Ralph. How are you today?
I'm doing well today, Jim. How are you?
Good. Now, remember last week you said all we need is a pretty girl in the video podcast?
I did say that.
Well,
and today,
look what we have.
We have.
This is Kristin Cooper, and she is a neuroscience scholar here at Central Michigan University, and she's going to come and talk a little bit more about the follow-up to last week's conversation on marijuana.
Right.
Okay. Now, you've been heavily involved with marijuana, right, Kristin?
Yeah, a little bit.
Hopefully not as too heavy a user.
No, more from the research side.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that we talked about last week is that we don't know all that much about the long-term effects of marijuana usage.
Yeah.
And, as I was thinking about how we would determine the long-term effects, I think we'd probably take maybe some kids and start them with either eating chocolate chip cookies laced with THC or THP, or blow smoke into their face until they became, maybe 15 or 16, and then they could self-administer.
Very ethical.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and we would do that until they were, maybe in their 50s or 60s or 70s, until they died. Mm-hmm. And then we do an autopsy on their brain to see what was up in there. Now, you mentioned ethical. I mean, it's science, isn't it? Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So, there are some ethical problems there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you've kind of solved that problem in a way with the model that you use.
Yeah. So we're looking at a mouse model.
A mouse model?
In my studies.
Okay. And that's a model is pretty close to human in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a great place to start at least. And it eliminates a lot of the problems too of like lifestyle factors that humans would have that could affect things where we know these mice
don't have a lifestyle profile.
It's all the same.
Well.
It's all uniform. Mm-hmm. Where with humans, you don't know what else they're doing on their free time.
That's right.
Yeah.
And, mice don't talk to each other and say, hey, I'm a stoner, Mom.
Not as far as we know.
Yeah, we had Cheech and Chong on here last week.
Oh,
and they were pretty interesting, talking about stoners. Right. So let's talk a little bit about sort of the background. Now, you did a candidacy study, and under Learn More, there's a contact link to you. Mm-hmm, and so if people are interested in finding out what you originally did, they can contact you, and you can send them the PowerPoint, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I look through the PowerPoint, right at the very beginning, it shows the increased use of marijuana from about 1970 to the present day. Mm-hmm. Back in 1970, it looks like about 5% of the population.
Yeah.
2025, it looks like 50%.
Yeah.
So we have a marked increase. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Ralph?
I think that's a significant increase. And the other thing that is interesting, although many states, including Michigan, have made legal statewide recreational and medical use of marijuana, it's still a federal crime. It's a Schedule I crime. So, if you happen to get apprehended by the feds as opposed to the state troopers, you can do some pretty heavy time in jail.
Okay, well, it's your deportation hearing, Ralph. We'll take a look at that, okay?
Oh, okay.
All right. Now, we have another interesting looking graph in your candidacy document, and that's the graph for aging and then the decline of individuals with either normal aging or pathological aging.
Right.
Now, what do we find with rats or mice? What's the aging? Because you've now looked at them over a long time span, right?
Yeah. So the graph in my candidacy was looking at, because there's obviously like normal cognitive decline with aging, and then there's the pathological. So depending on if you have something like dementia or Alzheimer's or something else going on. And so mice and rats, rodents see a similar decline. And we run testing such as, there's different types of behavioral testing we can do, like memory testing, maze testing, things like novel object recognition testing. So you see if they like
cognitive
remember
stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. To kind of measure that in mice and rodents.
And what do we find?
With marijuana use or in general. So a lot of it's really, there's not a ton of data out there about it. And so that's part of what we're looking at. So in my study, we did 12 weeks of THC administration through inhalation. And then at the end of the 12 weeks, we tested their memory with novel object recognition. So seeing if they remember an object from the day before or not. So kind of measuring how long they investigate the object. So if they investigate it less time the next day, then you kind of know they remember it.
Okay.
And also like radial mazes, so where they try to find a platform, how to get out of the maze. And so we're still gathering that data. And so basically we want to see a 12-week period in a mouse. Like if you think about a mouse's normal lifespan is about 2 years, 12 weeks is a long time. And so we want to see what this like kind of chronic low dose usage will do to their cognitive decline.
When you say chronic low dose,
Yes.
what would that translate to in human beings?
So the idea is, I'm not sure if I have this in my slides or not, but the like someone who might come home 4 or 5 days a week and take a puff from their vape pen or take a small gummy, not kind of like consistently getting really high, but like someone who just does a little bit often for a long period of time in their life.
Okay.
Okay, and given the fact that the normal human life is somewhere around 78 years, what would that length of time in a human life be? Would that be 10 years, 20 years?
Yeah, we estimated about 20 years.
Okay. So
roughly.
Somebody who started doing that at age 20, whatever results we could expect in their mental capacity would be affected noticeably by the time they're 40.
Right. Yeah. So we're doing three age groups of mice. We've done the first age group, which was 12 months old, like a year old, which so maybe about halfway through a mouse lifespan. We also are going to do a group of 8 months old and then 16 months old. So we want to see what, like a little bit younger and quite a bit older, how that would affect them. But
okay.
What's your speculation with the, let's see, the scenario that I gave you, that is starting really young and then continuing on until natural or unnatural death?
Yeah, well, and there's like obviously a lot of brain development happening the younger the person is or the mouse is. So we're also looking at a low dose and a high dose. So for the mice, that's 2 milligrams per kilogram of body weight in the mouse and 10 milligrams per kilogram of body weight in the mouse. And so one is considered lower dose, one is obviously higher dose.
Okay.
So I think that could make a difference. And in this first round of studies we are doing pure THC, where when you're a person in the real life, you usually get something with a mix of different phytocannabinoids like CBD and things in it. So I suspect that the lower dose will show maybe some improvements, especially if you start later in life. If you start younger in life, I think you could maybe see some deficits, depending on how it impacts the brain development. But later in life, you could see some improvements, or maybe in things like we're also going to be looking at cellular aspects like neuroinflammation and immune cells and microglia, some of the immune cells in the brain, and see how that affects it. And so we have, in our lab, we have done some other studies in rats where we did see like an increase in neurogenesis, which is the creation of new neurons.
Yeah. Normally, we wouldn't expect neurogenesis, but
Right.
we do sometimes see it, don't we?
Yeah. We didn't, for a long time, we didn't think that there was any, and then we're seeing that there is some. And so, yeah, some of the other studies in our lab, or earlier studies in our lab, they've seen increase in neurogenesis with some THC use.
I just want to mention to our listeners that down under Learn More, you have the address of Kristin, but we also have the podcast that we did earlier on the glia cells.
Yeah.
That was one of the most popular podcasts that we've had.
Yeah.
So, go and check that one out. We have Maya Dante on the podcast along with Kristin.
Yeah.
And, in that one, we sort of showcased the glia cell as the unsung hero of the nervous system, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people say that marijuana, calms them down. It's good it might be good for, maybe pain reduction. And a positive thing is that if it does work, we could maybe get away from opioid, use, which I think is a real benefit. But let's speculate again about the long-term consequences. I mean, we don't know that much about it, right?
Right.
And I want to show you this. This is the latest issue of the APA Monitor, and it says we support science. Well, it's a good thing because other people are not.
Yeah.
The science of what is going to happen, with marijuana use, is being looked at right now, but money is being poured into it, or has been poured into it. Money is not being poured into it right now. And this is not a political thing, Kristin, but what do you think the consequences of kind of pulling federal funding from research might be?
Yeah, well, I mean, as we saw in some of those graphs, that people are using marijuana, people are using it to self-medicate, regardless of whether we have scientific data on the long-term effect of it or not. So it would be nice for people to be able to make an informed decision when they're choosing to use what they use to self-medicate, whether it's beneficial, whether it's harmful, whether it's neutral. All of that's valuable. And right now, we just don't
know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, Kristin, let me ask you this. This is maybe a disingenuous question, but glial cells, they're basically lipids, right? Would that be a fair way to?
sure, yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Okay, so we know that THC is lipid trophic. So it goes to the fat cells. So glia cells in the brain surround the neurons. So that means that THC goes to the glia cells.
Yeah.
Is that a fair way to put that?
Yeah, and so we, I think I even said on there that, this is, so in this slide here, the CBR1, that's a cannabinoid receptor. And so these are this is actually between a neuron, we have the presynaptic terminal and the postsynaptic cell. The ECB is endocannabinoid, because our bodies actually make, cannabinoid is what a THC and CBD is a cannabinoid, but we also have endocannabinoids, which means like cannabinoids that your body makes, so things like endorphins. And so it attaches to the CB1 receptor. We have seen, there are some studies that the cannabinoid receptors in some different conditions have upregulated cannabinoid receptors. So it definitely could be a factor, yeah.
Okay. So then I guess what I'm getting at is in the mouse study, do we find that their short-term memory is affected?
I suspect it will be affected. I don't have the data yet, but there is some data out there. But at least with this long-term, there's hardly any studies with the data with kind of this 12-week regimen that we've done. A lot of the studies out there that even do call themselves long-term is like 4 weeks. So
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Ralph, you talked to me earlier. Isn't this kind of cool? I mean, we got these slides that come up. I mean, not only do we have Kristin here, we have her work is right in front of us. And that's thanks to Alex. Alex, why don't you say hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Stick your head in. Alicia emailed me and she said, hey, Alex is great. So keep him in here.
Thanks, Alicia. Appreciate it.
But Ralph, what the guy from Stanford?
Yeah.
Halsbrom? Yeah, we can't pronounce his name, can we?
No. But one of the things that he was the one who said that if you have testing of marijuana use in people, if their use has been recreational, that and they're stopped and suspected of driving while intoxicated on marijuana, the test will show up to 80 days.
Yeah.
So it stays in your system for a long time.
Yeah, and it's in, like you said, it's fat soluble, so it's in your fat in your body as well. So it's
I got a lot of places for it to stay.
right. It is hard to tell if someone is like acutely intoxicated with it or if they've used it within the last year or within the last 30 days, 90 days.
Now this not a podcast, it's a YouTube thing that you found, Ralph, is a couple hours long, right?
Yeah, it's about 2.5 hours long, and he goes into the THC from sativa and the indica types, and which have effects on relaxation, which have effects on potentiation.
Okay, so we'll put a link up to that. And
Yeah.
people who want to invest 2.5 hours to do what you called a deep dive can do
dive,
so,
yeah.
right? Okay.
And the thing is that one of the things that both an emergency room physician and he said is that what we don't have now is a good understanding of what happens to an individual. Well, will they be relaxed or will they be hyper-focused?
Yeah, and that's one of the YouTube videos that we do have right now under Learn More. So, there's a lot that we don't know about this, right?
Yeah.
And people like Kristin are pathfinders in that they're pushing back the frontiers of ignorance.
One puff at a time.
And Kristin, one quick question before it's time for us to close down the podcast today, and that is, have you found a difference between mice and rats?
One's bigger than the other. Right?
Some are inside, some are outside.
Yeah. So
In the effects.
yeah, my study is all on mice. I think it's pretty similar. I haven't looked at rats myself as much. I know we have in our lab, and so they're pretty similar as far as effects.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned that the rats or mice are getting pure THC.
Yeah.
So are you injecting it?
We're vaporizing it.
How does that work?
So we have them in like a little plexiglass box.
I have a picture of it.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw that.
Yeah.
In the it went
There
too
was.
far.
Yeah. Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was
right.
wondering about this when I saw
so-
it earlier.
We ran. We could do 4 mice at a time. This picture shows 2 of the boxes. So
You use jewel cartridges?
this image is from an open model study where they were looking at
Oh, yeah.
nicotine.
Yeah.
But we ordered
So replace that with the...
just like a regular vape pen.
Okay.
And so we filled them ourselves with pure THC and like glycerol oil, and vaporized that. So we have the pumps, and we attached it with tubing, and then the pumps would create the suction, run it through the tubing, pump it into the box, and then the mice would be in
And a
that box
measured
for
dose.
about
Measured
like,
time.
Yes.
So you're measuring also the
both.
Yeah.
Both. And so then they would stay in the box for about 10 minutes and basically
Little mousy hot box chamber.
Exactly. That's exactly what I tell people I do. I hot box mice.
That's awesome.
Now, this is what I had proposed to do for my doctoral research at Rutgers.
Yeah.
But instead of that, he was just going to be laying on the table. I'm just kidding. But they didn't let you do it, right? The
Yeah.
local police were fine.
The feds were okay.
Yeah.
I could get the stuff.
What
from
year
them.
was this in?
This would have been 69.
Couple years ago.
1969, yeah. But no, it was the campus police that just didn't want to do that kind of research. You know,
They didn't want it in your lab, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't trust their doors and their.
Or the researcher, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
So
we had to go through a lot of,
So I looked
there's
at-
3, 4 different locks and everything.
So I looked at short-term memory in human beings from a different point of view. So you're now kind of, it's like a trip down memory lane. You're looking at stuff that I wanted to look at 50 years ago. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and vaporization is one of the most common ways that humans use THC, so that's why we wanted to
Okay.
do the mice study this way.
Well, I saw a study not too far from here that was done with the researcher taking a puff and then blowing it into a chamber like that.
You did mention that.
But he didn't inhale.
Supposedly.
So this is the most common. It's also metabolized differently, right? If you injected it or ate it, right?
Yeah, well, and that's part of why I wanted to do my project with the vaporization, because obviously people aren't out here, injecting themselves with THC. So we want to, see
Not
the
yet.
different. Yeah, I've never seen anyone do it.
So,
So where do we go from here?
well,
Well, there's a lot of shops around
question. What
town, so-
happens? Okay, so you vaporize the mice for
Hopefully not the whole mouse.
1 unit of time, let's say 10 minutes.
Yeah.
What are the mice like afterwards? How do they present? Do they...
Hungry?
So yeah, we left them with unlimited access to food and water. We didn't measure that or affect that. We did weigh them over time, so we can see there was some weight gain over time, but I haven't analyzed
No,
the data.
hey, man.
But yeah, it was, over the 12 weeks, the first week they were kind of nervous about being in this foggy box. So, what's going on in here. Over time, they did get used to it. And then for the most part, they just kind of sit in the box and they got kind of used to the rigmarole.
The
How do you
ambience
measure
of the
their
box.
memory, or do you count folds in their brain after they're dead, or how do you measure?
Yeah, so at the end of the 12 weeks, we did the behavioral testing, and then after the behavioral testing, we will section the brains and look at the tissue and count different cells. So we're looking at inflammatory cytokines.
Is that in here? I wasn't.
Yeah, actually, the page you were just on it.
Oh, was it? Conclusion.
Keep
or this
going
one?
back. Methodology.
There were,
yeah.
there were no
Okay.
pictures.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
was
So
like,
yeah,
what
there
is
are
this?
pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go to the slide 21. Yeah, that's the behavioral testing we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the
So
more
after the behavioral testing, which, is, I think we psychologists understand that.
Yeah.
But you take it a step further, right?
yeah.
Yes,
So
and you sacrifice your test subjects.
we did.
Okay.
We anesthetized them, and
Well, I wonder what would happen if you just let them live their entire life course out and die of old age.
yeah.
Just like the example, the unethical example that I proposed, yeah.
Yeah, and that is something to look at too. What happens? We looked at their memory right after the 12 weeks. Like, what would happen if you looked at it 16 weeks later? And look at it then. It could be different.
Yeah. It'd be more like the one last week with Cheech and Chong. Hey, man, okay.
Right.
Well, assuming that research like this can get funded and go into the future, what do you see 10 years down the road, 5 years down the road? Where would you like to be with this kind of research?
I think it's an exciting field, especially with there not being a lot of data out there on it. I get to kind of be at the forefront of it and be kind of an expert. So it's interesting. And we were talking about legality. There have been talks I mean, it's been talks for a while with the Attorney General whether he was going to bring it down from a Schedule 1 or not. I'm not really sure where that's at right now. Last I heard, he was thinking about it. They were talking about it, and then I haven't heard much on it since then. So that could affect things too. You know, what's going to happen? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the proposal isn't it a Schedule 3 here in Michigan? No, I don't know.
I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah. But it certainly isn't as
Federally,
it isn't.
Yeah.
It gets in the way, doesn't it?
yeah,
Yeah. Well, who knows?
yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. We live in interesting times, don't we, Ralph?
Right. Every day, you never know.
Okay, Alex. Thank you, Kristin Cooper, very much for coming on our podcast today. And thank you, Alex, for doing some really interesting things here with the
Glad I can help.
videos. Oh, we want to thank our
Gas station sponsor.
our gas station sponsor,
Thank you, Fast
Marathon
Rewards.
Gas. Yep. And
Not officially sponsored.
hey,
Yet.
so we talked to the manager. She said, "Sure, we'll you can have it, boys."
You got a free coffee today?
Yeah, every coffee did.
Sounds official to me.
Now all we have to do is get Dog Central to throw in hot dogs, and we'll be good. Okay, so you want to?
Yeah. You want
Hit it
to
there?
play me out?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Until next time, this is Jim
And Ralph,
saying, keep your stick on the ice
because we're all in this
together.